welcome to another round of me in a badly lit area talking to the camera by myself because I'm a sad, lonely individual who has discovered that I have this YouTube page and channel, and then I want to do something with and pick my nose where untold numbers of people can see it. Anyhow, I am going to talk a little bit about gaming tonight, role-playing games in specific. Throw some stuff aside. Someone came and went because they realized that this is not worth seeing, I suspect. Probably because of this awful lighting. That's one thing I have not been able to conquer is light. I need to probably get some light if I'm gonna be doing this sort of thing. But anyhow, gaming. Some of you may or may not. Some of you may know that for about 12 years, 15 years actually, my full-time job was as a writer and editor, mostly of role-playing games. Clearly, it was not cinema or lighting or stage or anything like that, but it was writing. It was role-playing games. It was fiction. The main properties I worked on back in the day were Dragonlance, mostly Dragonlance 5th Age, Ravenloft, the 2nd edition, with some contributions to the 3rd edition version of the setting as well. I touched Greyhawk a bit, did a little bit of Forgotten Realms, did some World of Darkness, generally the spin-offs. Werewolf the Wild West, did contribute to an anthology of adventures, and I think maybe of NPCs. I don't recall at this point. I also did some Big Eyes, Small Mouth products that I don't think saw the light of day, actually. If memory serves, I got a head up from someone at Pioneer. I think they were not going to be approving this stuff, but I finished my project. Maybe it was Pioneer, I don't know, but Nia Under 7, I think, was the property I adapted to Big Eyes, Small Mouth that I think never saw the light of day. And I can't recall whether it was oh yeah, that's actually what it was. It was I think Pioneer USA sort of said, hey, you can put the Armitage 3 unpublished Big Eye Small Mouth material on some web pages. Just be aware that if the Japanese parent company gets upset, we'll disavow all knowledge and let you get dragged off, or whatever would have happened to me if anyone had gotten upset about it. But yeah, so the Nia Under 7 and the Big Eyes. Oh, my connection's unstable. Please try while we reconnect. Oh, that's no good. Well, unstable connection. That's no that. Oh, doesn't really matter. No one's actually watching the live stream. So whether it's unstable or not, I guess I'll see when I go look at the tape later on, just to see how the sound is and whether this lighting is truly as atrocious as it seems. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that it is. Yeah, I'll have to invest some effort in making this part of it a little better, or just film during the daytime because it's less horrible there. Well, totally off topic. Anyhow, that was a little bit of my my role-playing game writing. Oh yes, actually, I left off another one of the big things that I'm actually quite happy that I was involved in and proud of. I worked on Star Wars role-playing game material for both West End Games and TSR, not TSR, Wizards of the Coast. Both on staff and as a freelancer. In fact, I contributed to both of the editions that were published by Wizards of the Coast for Star Wars, and I worked on revising the Expanded Edition for West End Games. I also wrote some short fiction. I think only one story actually saw print. It was a tie-in adapting. Well, but not really adapting. It was a promotional tie-in with I think some sort of starfighter simulator. I wrote a sort of a prequel short story featuring a character that pretty much dies in the very first encounter you have in the game. I think also did something with animals, and I wrote a bunch of back cover copy for various Star Wars toys, as if memory serves, and a little bit of text for just for the Star Wars card game from Decipher. Anyway, lots of little tidbits of Star Wars stuff. Then around 2005, I think, maybe a little sooner, I kind of drifted away from game writing and started doing a lot of writing of educational materials for taxes of all things, H&R Block tax courses, some other income tax related stuff. And around this is also around the time I think I did some freelancing for who was that? Somebody had the license to do Lord of the Rings role-playing games based on the movies, and I contributed to a couple of those things. I think I wrote up the ring wraiths and some other sort of monsters and creatures, and but also around this. So yeah, I drifted away from role-playing games, but around 2011, I decided that I missed it. So I got into my own little, started my own little publishing company. Revived NUELOW Games was something we'd done in the 90s, a friend of mine, and sort of as a joke. And we revived that again with the intention of doing just a few joke products. And that eventually grew into, yeah, that's too bright. It's still just playing with the light here. But NUELOW Games eventually evolved into a little operation where we published anthologies of comics that we felt, old comics that entered into the public domain for the most part. A couple of them were done with the permission of the owners of the copyright. But the one thing that tied all those anthologies together was that they had game content in them, either stuff produced under the open game license for the D20 system, either D20 Modern or D&D, but generally D20 Modern. D20 Modern is kind of where we hung our hat, mostly because that was my favorite of the D20 iterations. I just liked the whole tone of that system and the way they executed the feats and the talent trees and that sort of thing. So most of the NUELOW Games anthologies were based around D20 Modern. There were the comics, or in some cases fiction, but mostly the comics are the ones that had the game content. We did a number of Robert E. Howard collections, a few of which had some game content, but generally speaking, it was what we called comic/RPG hybrid products that had the game content. I'm doing a lot of stalking of NUELOW Games in past tense, just because reality set in, reality of needing to make a living. And myself and my main collaborator, NUELOW Games, both found ourselves way too busy with projects that paid the rent and paid the bills, and in my case, paid the medical bills, because I ran into some, every few years, I seem to have a medical incident of some sort that sort of drains a lot of time and a lot of money. And one of those hit around 2014, 2015, and I had to change gears again, and NUELOW Games sort of stuttered a bit. We had been doing one or more releases a month between 2011 and 2014, and then we sort of it sort of dropped off to the point where we may be doing 2 releases a year, maybe 3. There's a whole mess of partially finished projects that someday we'll get back to, or I'll get back to, and every so often I put around with them. Sometimes I post little bits on the NUELOW Games blog or my Facebook page, or the NUELOW Games Facebook page, just to sort of keep our readers aware that we're here, because we're still selling product. It's on the Drive-Thru RPG. We continue to sell the backlist stuff, whether I release new material or not. I mean, we're not building our audience for it really, because, well, to build audience, you gotta keep doing releases. And now, not many releases are coming out. Frankly, our clip art packages are doing better than most of our game releases. Clip art packages are basically a publisher resource, or just resource you want to put things on your website. We have process art that we put in themed packs or by the artist, that are pretty much available to use in almost any project you can conceive of, except other clip art packs or stock art packs. We'd rather you didn't put our stock art packs in your stock art packs, well, because we're selling them. A couple of them are free as well, but most of them are we're charging for them. It's very low we charge, or very little we charge comparatively, but yes, we still charge. And all of this rambling is just kind of a little bit of background, because I haven't really talked about gaming or my work history here on YouTube, so I thought I'd do so. Again, just kind of talking to myself. Maybe someone will find this down the road and will find it interesting, or maybe not. But I've now gone on 15 minutes without actually, or 13 minutes without actually talking about what I should be talking about. And that is that there is a NUELOW Games product coming out in the very near future, because it's almost done. It has a very cool cover by a friend of mine. Hopefully he doesn't mind me calling him a friend. Former guy I worked with years ago as well. His name is Stan. And Stan drew a really fun cover for a collection of Mystic Moot stories. Mystic Moot is a creation of Basil Wolverton. A lot of people my age probably first encountered Wolverton with the cover art that, and I believe some interior stories as well, he was doing for a satirical comedy, a comic series, satirical comic series called Plop. I believe it was published by DC Comics. Don't remember how many issues it lasted, but Wolverton did several covers, and they were quite bizarre. The Mystic Moot stories date from the mid-1940s, and while the art style is not quite as grotesque and bizarre as what Wolverton was doing in the 70s, it is a lot of fun. The stories are weird. The dialogue is just a joy to read. The stories are also just very lighthearted and fun. In fact, reading them out loud probably makes it even more fun, I think. But we're collecting the Mystic Moot stories, and Mystic Moot's shtick is that he has a magic snoot, a magic nose. So he channels magic through his nose, which if you're me and you go, hey, that can make for some good D20 system rules. So there's going to be feats in this book that well, let you give your player characters mystic body parts or magic body parts. So your nose, your ear, your knee, pretty much any body part you can think of can be magic if you have the appropriate feat. And then you master your magic body part by or with as you become more skilled with channeling magic through your body part, you can take talents, which will then you take the feat, you can do essentially 0 level spells for your magic body part. You get the first talent, I think, maybe still getting a little bit of feedback on the rules, but chances are it will be first and second level spells. Then you get the next, you take the next talent, and it'll be third and fourth level spells, and then the next one, fifth and sixth level spells. It'll follow, and it'll have its own spell list. There'll be an own separate spell list that you gain access to these spells through the magic body part. And that will add, if let's say you have a wizard character, you can add these spells to that list, but you have to have a second list of spells. That's assuming the DM will allow you to mix these sorts of things. But it's intended for a wacky game anyway, so chances are, if the DM is willing to let you have a mystic body part, he wouldn't mind that you use it to augment your, he or she wouldn't mind if you use it to augment your spell list from your arcane spellcaster, wizard, sorcerer, whatever, if you're using something other than D20 modern, or your divine spellcaster or druid. But as I was this morning, I've been finishing up, like I said, Stan did a wonderful cover. I've been working on a decent looking masthead for that. I'll probably put up Stan's sketch and finished product on the NUELOW Games blog at some point, and I'll also have a link at when this thing goes on the page, the YouTube page. There will be a link at the bottom that will let you go look at some of the basically draft material of the feats or the feat and the talents that are going to be in Mystic Moot and his Magic Snoot, the book that's coming out probably, if not, yeah, probably not. Probably next week. I'd say probably next Tuesday. That's the target. We'll see whether I make it or not. But right now, it's looking like it'll be ready to go on Tuesday. Could be at Drive-Thru RPG. Again, I'll announce it on all the various places. But in addition to, well, not in addition to, but as I was looking at what sort of spells I should include on the list, I noticed and I was reminded of the existence of spells in D20 Modern Arcana. Now I'm blanking, of course, what they're called. What happened there? We went dark. We went dark. Oh no. Oh no. Well, unstable connection, unstable light. Who knows what's happening? Train of thought totally gone. Oh yes. As I was looking at what spells the character should be able to use with their mystic body parts, I noticed and was reminded of the totally blanking on the name of the thing. Well, there's a there's a spell that lets you summon a magical motorcycle. It's called something chopper, and there's just one character can ride it around. Then there's another spell that lets you summon a magic limousine. Phantom, there you go. It's a phantom chopper and a phantom limousine. And in Phantom Limousine, you can have 2 characters ride around. And in my mind, I've always pictured this Phantom Limousine as sort of there was this cartoon called Wacky Races, and they made toys, and basically all the characters go around in these weird-looking cars. And I always had it in my mind. Yeah, I'm sure if you're more serious-minded, you would see a sleek white and black limousine, probably with a phantom driver. I think that's the spell gives it a driver too. I don't recall. Again, maybe I shouldn't be doing these streams so late because my old brain is even more foggy than usual. But regardless, there is the phantom chopper and the phantom limousine as spells. Well, okay, there should be a even lesser version of that, because I'd say, yep, your mystic body part, you can get yourself a motorcycle to ride around on, or one that you could summon and give to another character, and you can get a limousine too. Why not? But there should be a low-level version too, a first-level version. Well, there's Mount. Okay, yeah, you can summon a horse or a goat or something to ride around on, but that's kind of not very exciting. So I was just mulling that over and doing work stuff when all of a sudden I thought, or popped in my head, pogo stick, mystic pogo stick. Mystic pogo stick, yep. And then it occurred to me, does anybody even know what a pogo stick is anymore? I know what a pogo stick is. It's this stick with handles on it and footholds and big springs at the bottom, and you just sort of bounce around on it. So it seemed like a fitting thing for when you read the Mystic Moot stories, you would see why it's a fitting thing. And just kind of a fittingly wacky thing to do some game rules about. So the Mystic Pogo Stick, you can summon it, and you can bounce around on it, and you can bounce up high, and if you land, make a reflex save or something, you land good, you can just keep along up on that next level that you got up onto, until the spell wears off and the Mystic Pogo Stick goes back to formless magical energy. But still, the problem is, does anybody really know what a pogo stick is these days? I know what it is because I watched old cartoons, and I watch old cartoons, but even as a kid, I never actually used a pogo stick. I don't know if I ever saw anyone or know anyone that used a pogo stick. If I did, I don't recall. So yeah, if someone finds this recording and they're watching it somewhere down the road, leave a comment if you know what a mystic pogo, what a pogo stick is. Again, I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the Mystic Moot done, Mystic Moot book done by Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. Right now, it's still September 22nd for another about roughly 5 minutes. So that would make it what? Friday the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So I guess the 26th is the one I'm looking, when I'm in my mind, the target release for Mystic Moot's Magic Snoot is. So if I'm going to put the Mystic Pogo Stick in there, I would need to know by, well, certainly Monday, whether anybody would know what the heck I'm talking about. I mean, that's kind of one of the joys of digital publishing, literally right up until the moment you go live with the product. Well, a moment before, well, a little bit before, you have to upload stuff, but you can tinker with something, right up to the release date. You don't have, there's not these 3-4 month lead time. So yeah, if somebody wants to say, yeah, I know what a pogo stick is, or I have absolutely no idea what I have no idea what that is, and I don't think it sounds at useful at all, or fun, or anything, leave a comment. There's below this particular video, there is my Facebook page. It's linked, I think, up here, I believe. Well, on the main page. It's like there's a strip up on the main when you first find this thing. Probably when you're looking for the Steve Miller Band or something, maybe you accidentally come across this. Who knows how people are finding this, but yeah, if you ever thought about a pogo stick, what do you think the game rules are? Sound stupid, absolutely waste of space. You can let me know about that too. But I'm probably gonna be writing them up tomorrow because, well, as I said at the top of this, I have no life, and one of my cats is on the ground, sort of rolling around, saying, "Hey, dummy, what are you doing? You're talking. You're talking and talking, and that means, yeah." Well, regardless, me, cats, writing, work, and actually, I do game with friends once or twice a week. Running a Star Wars campaign. Campaign's been running since 1996. Only took, actually didn't even take a break, even though I wasn't running it. Other people were running it while I was off working, ironically enough, on Star Wars content for West End Games and some of the other licensees. But yeah, so same campaign since 1996. Only one of the original players is still there, but I mean, aside from myself. But it is the same storyline that's been going on. So yeah, I guess that's an accomplishment of some sort. Not much of one, but still an accomplishment. One of these nights, I think I'm just going to turn this on and let it run while I, turn to the computer here. This wonderful space here actually is my home office, and this right here is a computer that I sit and write on. So maybe one night I will just turn the live stream on, turn sideways, occasionally glance over and see if anyone is watching, but I'll just sit here and type and just sort of waste bandwidth. Maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, I think at this point, it's been almost half an hour. I'm going to call it quits. If anyone finds this later on, like I said, just let me know if you know what a pogo stick is. If you have any opinions about Basil Wolverton, you can leave that down at the bottom. Leave a comment about Basil Wolverton. Or, hey, have something that NUELOW Games published that you really liked, or something that we announced that never saw the light of day. Because everything we announced, we had in the works, and then when things stalled around 2015 because of the real world getting in the way, these half-made projects just ended up sitting around. Well, like the Secrets of Covfefe, for example. I think we missed the opportunity for that one, the window of opportunity. We had and it continue to something that I want to do someday. A marijuana-based project. You know, a lot of dope gags. Some of it inspired by the Charles Band produced and directed, for the most part, series Evil Bong. If you've looked at a number of NUELOW Games products, you will see that some of them are unauthorized adaptations of existing properties. You kind of have to squint and turn your head sideways to realize what it is that we're ripping off. But if you look, you will find. Kind of ties back to some of my game design philosophies. It seems to me, well, not necessarily game design, but world design. It just seems to me that if there's a hook that people can recognize and they can go, oh, I understand. Oh, yes, this, I know what this is. It seems like it goes over better with people than, better in the sense of more successful, than the more original settings. I mean, Sky Realms of Jorn, let's look at that. I mean, again, original setting, didn't light the world on fire. Tecumel, again, original. Actually, a setting that I rather like. I suppose right now, with the current state of hobby gaming, you're not supposed to say that you like settings like Tecumel with some of its content. But personally, I don't think that there is an issue with, there shouldn't be an issue if you're putting slavers in your setting, or slavery in your setting, or nasty, oppressive governments in your setting. In my mind, they exist for the player characters to fight against and defeat. There's slavers. Okay, yeah, I know you're trying to understand why I'm babbling and what's going on. Again, one of the cats is troubled by all this talk and doesn't understand, and she's the well, anyhow. Train of thought completely and utterly gone now. Oh yes, unpleasant elements in your setting. They're there for the player characters to put an end to. You know, bring justice to these places, liberate people. So yeah, in Star Wars, the Empire is there to be defeated. The mega corporations, if they're up to no good, are there to be stopped. Evil civilizations or races are there to be guided toward the light, I suppose. It all depends. Well, again, then the question becomes, what is the light? What is civilized? And those are all things that have kind of been in my Star Wars campaign. They have been in my another setting that I've been running for a very long time is my version of Mystara. I say my version because I use the maps, but many of the nations on the maps are not what they are in the official setting. For example, the heart of my D&D campaign is Denegoth, and the areas west and north of there. Places that haven't really been explored that much in the official products, and where they have been explored, I have deviated extensively from. My dragons have nothing to do with the dragons as they're presented in the baseline D&D rule set or the Mystara setting. they're a little closer to the Dragonlance version, but even there, my dragons are completely different. Not completely different, but their society, their motivation, the way the various colors of dragons interact with each other, the way they interact with the lesser races. Um, all of that is sort of unique, and maybe I'll come on here and talk about that someday. Just okay. Yes, I know, Zoe. You don't understand what's going on. I pick you up, let people see you, but you will not like that. Um, all right, so I'm going to wrap this up because yeah, I'm just talking to myself, and I'm literally talking about nothing right now. So yeah, maybe someday I'll just turn sideways and I'll write and I'll leave this running. But for now, I'm going to call it a night. Maybe drink some water. But like I said, if anyone knows what a pogo stick is or don't know, please, so I don't make a horrible, horrible mistake when I'm finishing up the content for Mystic Moot and his magic snoot. But yeah, look for that beautiful stand cover. And on that note, I'm going to wish you all a good night and or a good day if you're finding this at some later point. But goodbye, YouTube land. Have a wonderful time.